Good morning, everyone. Jonathan van Clute with Stock Navigators here on Monday, January 28th. A little bit early this morning. It's a quarter to 5 a.m. my time, and that is because I've got day 2 of one of our 3-day technical trading accelerator courses that I'll be teaching today. Today is the first day of live trading with the students in the live markets, so really looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun, but it does mean that I need to be over at the Stock Navigators building at 5:30 a.m., so I got to get out the door in roughly a half hour. So let's do a quick morning analysis and see what's going on in the markets. So starting with the S&P 500, as I always do, it is continuing to just go sideways. It's just a continuation of what I talked about on Friday, the theme being sideways. Small ranges, volatility has just completely vanished and vaporized. And you could come up with a lot of reasons of why that might be, but just it definitely feels like a lot of nervousness and uncertainty, and not outright fear, because we don't see the markets just plummeting like they were back here, but certainly indecision. Right now, price is just hugging the top of this zone right here, this buy zone, former buy zone, now turned sell zone. But we have broken above it and are holding above it. So at the moment, anyway, that is acting as support. Navigators continuing to build strength. So frankly, all technical signs are kind of pointing to up. The 21 EMA obviously has turned around and is holding a bullish stance. So we are also above the box. We broke above the box, and at the moment, although we've come back down to test the top of the box, we are holding it at this moment. So right now, I mean, I can't really argue with what the chart is showing. The trend is wanting to head up. But that being said, I mean, we're kind of in this area here. And previously, this acted as kind of a congestion sticking point. Price came down, bounced up, kind of hung around it, and then came down. Price also reversed at that level, reversed at that level. So it could go either way. I am still personally waiting for that pullback. I really want to see a good retracement, a higher low put in, and then a continuation to the upside. That would make me a lot more confident in this trend continuing. But that being said, there's nothing that says that this can't just consolidate for a little while and then just break higher for the next leg. That is perfectly feasible, and it does happen. So right now, anyway, it's just kind of a wait and see mode on a daily. On the intraday, on the 60-minute time frame, Navigator has just come down to the zero line and crossed below it. So right this instant, anyway, we're seeing a little bit of bearishness come in. Price did manage to get up to this range, and then the second time couldn't get quite as high. So right this moment, anyway, on the shorter term, we've got a pattern of higher highs and higher lows, and now we have a failure to make a higher high. So certainly on the 60-minute, if this level here can be taken out, then I would expect to see some continuation to the downside. At a minimum, I would expect to see maybe this zone retested, something like that. But certainly that could be the first signs of that retracement that I was talking about wanting to get. So really want to keep an eye on that. Of course, if this high can be taken out, then we see continuation to the upside. That's basically just this high right there. So be on watch for that. Those are the kind of the areas you want to be looking at as far as a bigger move. Now, if you just want short-term scalps, then it's just all about kind of catching the current break direction. Right this moment, anyway, we have a new box. Oops, we have a new box where the bottom is there, top is there. And right this moment, kind of testing the bottom of that box. So if it can break below it, then we can see a continuation to the downside. And I'm kind of playing with that low right there of that candle. And if price can move down from there, then we could certainly retest maybe this level down here, or maybe even these lows down here. So there is some room for some day trades, maybe to the downside, if we get some pressure on the open once the market is actually moving again to the downside. And if the sellers want to hold that position, the buyers won't come in, then we could see some definite follow through. So keep an eye on your box levels, on your supply and demand areas, and see which way the market wants to head this morning once it starts to move. Let's take a quick look at crude oil, which, no surprise, is also just sideways. We are just still continuing in this congestion area from back here. We are absolutely stuck right in it. There's nothing new here. Just like the ES, Navigator is building strength to the upside. 21 EMA is pointing up. So right this instant, we do have the beginnings of a pattern of higher highs and higher lows forming on the daily. But it right now is just going sideways. So is it going to break to the upside, take out these highs and march higher, or is it going to break to the downside, take out these lows here and retrace and possibly maybe double bottom, retest this area down here, something like that. It's a wait and see mode right now. On the 60, very much range bound. It has been bouncing back and forth kind of between this upper zone here. Let me move the chart down a little. Oops, background dragging. There we go. Kind of between this top zone and this bottom zone, and also getting stuck occasionally in this middle zone. So right now, anyway, kind of looking to trade between the zones. And at this moment, it's right between the zones. If price is able to continue to march higher, test this zone, then you want to see if it's going to hold or if it's going to reject. If it rejects, then you're looking for something along the lines of a test of the bottom zone down here. So, there are certainly intraday opportunities to be had. Right now, we are bearish on the Navigator, so the strength is to the downside in the shorter term. But we're only at minus 17, so it certainly could go lower. There's plenty of room to do that. But as we've seen before, it also could turn around and go higher if it's at a reasonable zone where that's likely to happen. Now, when this happened, of course, it was testing this buy zone. So it made sense that that held, and then that forced the Navigator to turn around and go higher. So I wouldn't really expect that to happen unless maybe price can get back down again towards this zone, something like that. Then I would expect something like that. But the market loves to surprise us. It loves to give us things we don't expect and we didn't think were going to happen. So kind of got to just wait and see what's going on right now. This instant, anyway, the bulls are trying to push it up, and we'll have to see what happens when they get up to nearer the zone or near that 21 EMA, and see if it can hold and reject price, or if they are determined enough on the buy side to push it through. All right, let's take a quick peek at gold. And gold did, in fact, shoot higher. A really, really strong move to the upside. But look where it went, basically right there to the top of this congestion area. And now it has come back down into it again. So we are still just trapped in that area, just going sideways. We did bounce hard off of that channel line, though. So when price came back down to it, I mentioned that, if it holds at that level, then that could be a low risk entry, and sure enough, that's what we have. It shot higher, and that is a considerable move given the reduction in volatility that we've kind of had recently, as it's been squeezing down here, getting smaller and smaller, and all of a sudden we have this big pop. So nice big move in gold. You can see that here on the 60-minute a little better, where it came down, it tested this zone, kind of tested it twice, really, held, and then shot right up to where? The other zone. Went right to it in basically one big move, very, very quickly, just in one session. So right now, anyway, Navigator started screaming overbought. It went way too far, way too fast. It gave us magenta. It's up at over 60, or actually almost to 60, over 50, almost to 60 on the numeric reading, which is extremely, extremely overbought. And no big surprise, it really couldn't continue beyond that. But it certainly can just go sideways. Just not being able to continue does not necessarily mean a sharp reversal has to happen. It could just go sideways at this zone for a little while and just hold around there, consolidate for a bit, and then march higher if the market is inclined to want to do that. If people are uncertain about what's happening in the broader markets, they might want to leave to gold. That is kind of the standard textbook thing to do, but it does happen. Some people do that. So right now, anyway, though, just still in this sideways range. So there's no real sign of a breakout. Even this strong move was not able to really break higher, take out this high or anything like that, or even test that zone. It couldn't even get to it. So keep an eye on that high. Right there. That's what you want to look for to see if there's going to be any kind of follow through to the upside. You got to take out that high, and to the downside, of course, we got to take out that low right there. Which is pretty close to the bottom of the box. So you can just keep an eye on that as well. And of course, if it gets back down there again, then now we're talking about being in this channel, and perhaps we stay range bound and bouncing around in that channel for a while. Again, just like we did for all of this back here. So right now, anyway, this zone appears to be holding, and so I would look for a pullback down into it. But then again, if when the markets get moving this morning, if this level holds and we are able to push higher, if we can take out that high, that's what we want to watch for. So look out for that. All right, quick look at natural gas, which things are about to get really interesting with these record-breaking storms and so forth that are going on in the Midwest, and these just brutal, brutal cold. It'll be interesting to see if we see a sudden surge upwards in natural gas, maybe something of the likes that we did back here with this absolutely massive, crazy up candle that we had there just in one day, one giant day. Do we get something like that again? We'll have to wait and see. But right now, anyway, Navigator has been trending upwards. Strength is building there. We have, almost a double bottom here. Came down, tested that general area twice. We certainly got into that congestion area there and came out of it. And we got out of that congestion zone, but got right back down into it again. And that's where we are right now. So, my bet, if I had to make one, is that we're going to see some upside to natural gas just due to the weather snap. That tends to be what happens. But of course, as always, trade carefully, trade with your stops and good money management, good position size, all that good stuff. Because if you look at the 60-minute, we still have a pattern of lower lows and lower highs. So right this moment, anyway, technically speaking, the bears are in control. Navigator has come down and is down pretty low, -30, but we are getting some magenta warnings. So there is some exhaustion warning happening, and we kind of came down. We gapped down to this level, but then held sideways, and now we're coming back up out of it. So it looks like we may be kind of have formed a bottom, formed a base here to then launch a new move from, and it's just got to get up over each one of these zones. And if it can do that, if it can take out this high, then I certainly would be looking for a move up to this area and that area, and just marching up the swing points from there. So on a 60-minute, keep an eye on that to the low side. We got to take out this low, but again, with that the weather that's coming, I have a difficult time seeing that the demand for natural gas would go down. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. I mean, given that the weather is already known clearly, and price has not made a big move already, that kind of makes me a little suspicious, because generally I would expect to see that kind of thing already kind of happening, people already reacting to it and knowing that it's coming. So we haven't seen that. So maybe it's already baked into the price. I have to wait and see what the price action wants to give us. But right now, anyway, if you were of the mindset that we're probably going to have a cold snap going on and a sudden demand for natural gas, well, right now it's at a good level for a low risk entry. You put your stop just right below those lows right there, and you've got a reasonably defined amount of risk there. Of course, that depends on you as the trader, who you are, what your account size is, what your risk tolerance is, all that good stuff. But just a rough eyeball on it anyway. You've got a reasonable potential long trade there. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. But if you're right, and we do get a cold and snap, and we get a huge explosion to the upside, then obviously small risk, giant reward. So let's take a look at the crypto market. Bitcoin, it has dipped down. Finally, we have a little bit of a change. Instead of just riding this area here, it is dipping below it, but it's still down into this zone. Nothing real strong. It's a very small move. You can see here, yes, it's moved down, but it hasn't been any of these giant moves, these giant shock candles that we've gotten so many times in the past. We just haven't seen that. Pardon me. We just haven't seen that. So right now, anyway, it's kind of just a gentle little dip. We've also got a bunch of magenta warnings here on the Navigator. Navigator levels, even with just that little gentle move down, are pretty oversold. We're down at near -60, which is pretty extreme. You can see what happened the last time we got down to near those levels. We had a definite huge crash down, and then it doesn't necessarily mean reversal, but it definitely did go sideways enough to work off a lot of that oversold conditions. So what's going to happen here? Do we do the same thing? Do we just go sideways in this zone for a while to work off that condition? What does it want to do? It's going to be really interesting to see. Are we coming back down to test this, maybe give us a double bottom and then head higher from there? Or are we going to take out this low and really head lower? Because clearly this is kind of the line in the sand right now. And if that low is broken, then we can expect to see another move down for Bitcoin. And obviously there has just been no strength for the last year. Bitcoin has just been falling. Crypto markets in general, the crypto winter that everybody talks about, it's just been a really disastrously bear market. And right now, anyhow, that is kind of continuing. We still have lower lows, lower high, and we haven't formed a lower low yet, but we haven't formed a higher high yet either. We haven't broken that high. So right now, anyway, the trend is trending downwards. We're drifting down. So keep an eye on that low. That is really what you're looking out for. Is that going to get taken out? Now, that being said, the Navigator's pretty high up here. It's only at -11 right now versus, down here at nearly -70, or down here at, -40, 40 to 45, somewhere in there. So right now, Navigator's not terribly weak on a daily basis. So if we just sort of drift down, maybe test the bottom of this, Navigator doesn't get terribly low, then there's could be potential strength to move up. Maybe we get a bullish divergence. If price can come back down and double bottom here and test that same level, but the Navigator is considerably higher, then we have a divergent Navigator, and that suggests that behind the scenes there's some serious strength brewing. So we might see a move to the upside. So keep a watch on that. If you're day trading, then of course you're just trying to capture volatility. And Bitcoin, it's been weird lately. Just lots of little weird, spiky, very short term, very quick moves. So if you're day trading this stuff, you kind of got to be ready to capture those when they happen, or step aside if you're wrong, and do it quickly. Because when Bitcoin does decide to move quickly and move big, it does so, and you don't want to be on the wrong side of that. So as always, trade very cautiously in such a high volatility market. All right, that is it for the morning analysis. Take one last peek at the S&P. Make sure nothing crazy has happened in the last 10 minutes or so. And the answer is nope, nothing crazy has happened. It's just the same old, same old. So I am going to get myself ready to get out the door, head out to San Jose for day 2 of our latest technical trading accelerator. Another crop of students coming through the program, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Today is going to be a fantastic day, getting them their first chance to really sit down and do some trading. So looking forward to that. As always, just a reminder, please do like, comment, subscribe, give us some feedback. If you happen to be on this stream, even though it's at the unusual time slot, sorry that I'm not commenting on the chat or anything like that. I don't actually have it in front of me. I'm doing kind of a skeleton setup at the moment just to get this out before I head out the door and head off to teach. So that is it. I look forward to doing this again on Wednesday. The class is only today and tomorrow. So Wednesday we'll be back to our normal time, which will be 5:45 a.m. for another thrilling market analysis with me, Jonathan van Clute from Stock Navigators. That is it. Take care, everybody. Trade well. Bye-bye.